those of you who don't know, the star of Wednesday, Jenna Ortega, has recently been coming under fire for some comments she made about the writing on her show amidst the Writers Guild strike currently taking place in the States. Will these comments continue to haunt and ruin her career, or is there something darker looming beneath the school grounds? Well, welcome to Beyond the Screen. I'm Nate Janot, and today we are breaking down the real reason Jenna Ortega has ruined her career. As we like to do with these videos, to really understand how someone got to where they are today, we must first begin at the beginning. She was born Jenna Marie Ortega on September 27, 2002 in Coachella Valley, California. From a young age, Jenna has been in the spotlight and only spent a few years in grade school before getting her first critically acclaimed performance as a younger version of the titular Jane in the series Jane the Virgin from 2014. But like many young actors, Ortega got her first regular series gig on the Disney Channel. She got it on the show called Stuck in the Middle, where she portrayed Harley Diaz, the middle child of 6 siblings. It was one of those shows where the main character would break the fourth wall and address the audience to share their childlike wisdom with the viewers around the world. Now, while the show wasn't the most popular in the world, she herself won an Imagine Award for Best Young Actor in Television for her performance in 2018. Being a child star meant that she didn't have a normal educational experience, often regretting never actually attending a normal high school or experiencing the traditions that come with it. Filming a scene set at a prom versus going to an actual prom are two very different things. Despite this, Ortega has been able to power through and has maintained a steady stream of work ever since her Disney days, on both the small and big screen. In recent years, she stepped into the horror genre, and many fans have accepted her with open claws. Her most memorable role was in the slasher flick X, in which a group of actors making a movie that is not safe for work in rural Texas are caught by the owner of what they assumed was an abandoned farm, and the crew begin a fight for their lives. She was also recently responsible for reviving the much-loved Scream franchise in 2020 and its sequel in 2023. With roles like this and a passion to perform, it only makes sense that Jenna should be given a show. 8 episodes to showcase her talent in a dark and creative space. Enter Wednesday. The character of Wednesday Addams first creeped into existence in 1946 thanks to the wild and wacky mind of one Charles Addams. That's right, Tim Burton didn't create the concept for the show, and if you didn't know that, wait till you Google who made The Nightmare Before Christmas. The Addams Family first started as a series of cartoons published in The New Yorker, which is a famous news outlet, in the 1940s. The cartoons followed the adventures of a creepy family who find themselves in wacky and fun situations. For 20 years, Charles brought that family's dark and twisted sense of humor to the readers at home, and he garnered quite the fan base because of it. In 1964, a multi-cam sitcom was produced to bring the Addams Family to life and right to your family at home. In the first iterations of the cartoon, the family had no names or specific character traits per se, so the show gave writers a chance to develop new characters based on an existing property. The show premiered on September 18th in 1964, and the rest is history. The world was introduced to Mother Morticia Addams, Father Gomez Addams, son Pugsley Addams, Grandma Addams, who never actually has a name, and the family's 7-foot-tall butler Lurch. And of course, the devious daughter herself, Wednesday Addams. The show was hailed for its family dynamic and weird but fun style of humor that it presented to viewers. It ran for 64 episodes for just over 2 years, which was a pretty big deal in the 1960s. Eventually, the series was rebooted into 2 live-action films from the late 1990s that many people watching this video may remember best, because they were fantastic. And if you haven't seen those movies, pause this video right now and go find them. Mamushka! Mamushka! Since then, though, the property has changed hands a few times, with some rough live-action reboots of both the movie and the show in the early 2000s, as well as an animated film reboot of the franchise in 2019, which, yeah, let's just not get into that one. But the Netflix masterminds finally found a golden nugget when they not only bought the rights to the Addams Family, but they hired the king of the comedically macabre, Tim Burton himself, to produce and direct. Tim is famous for movies like Beetlejuice, Corpse Brides, Mars Attacks. Okay, he's not famous for that last one, but he really should be because it's freaking wild. Tom Jones fights an alien in Las Vegas. Just saying, if that doesn't make you want to watch that, I don't know what will. Burton was beyond excited to take the job and found his Wednesday in Jenna Ortega. Jenna was Tim's first choice from the get-go to play Wednesday after seeing using her stint in the horror genre as well as her comedic abilities from her Disney days. Jenna accepted the position and has portrayed the character for only one season of the show so far, but oh boy was it a good one. Literally, the series focused on the titular character as she moves to a new school filled with misfits and monsters, and as it turns out, mystery! Oh yeah, and in the show, Wednesday gets like psychic visions or something like that sometimes. It's kind of like That's So Raven, only Wednesday like collapses to the ground and Raven just kind of stares at you. Regardless, the show was the perfect mix between mystery thriller and dark comedy, and it had wonderful mystery elements. They were so well done that myself and the people watching the show with me enjoyed all 8 episodes in succession at midnight. It was a bad idea, but so worth it. The show premiered #1 on Netflix, not just in Canada, but in the entire world. It stayed at that #1 spot for 5 weeks, and in that time smashed Netflix viewership records and became the second most watched show on the platform, just barely pulling up behind Stranger Things. The show was renewed for a second season only 2 weeks after the final episode was released. That season may take some time to get off the ground, however, due to the current writer's strike taking place in the States, as well as some choice comments made by the actor in reference to her Wednesday screenwriters. Throughout production on Wednesday, Ortega had reportedly been uncomfortable filming some of the scenes that were written for her character and would regularly change the parameters of the script. One of the most glaring flaws in the Wednesday series, I think we can all agree, is its decision to focus on a love triangle between Ortega, a boy at her school who is a misfit, and a normie boy in the town nearby who, spoiler alert, is also a misfit. He's some kind of like Jekyll Hyde weird monster thing. It heavily distracted from the point of the show and tried to make us care about something that the character of Wednesday wouldn't even care about herself. This is why Ortega made several comments to the writing team and was quoted as saying that she would punch up the script more often than she expected to. She cut several lines that made no sense for the character and altered the overall love triangle storyline to help focus more on Wednesday and her friends. Jenna fought the writers back and forth on the issue, but she won that battle as it was discovered by the team working for season 2 that the show would drop that concept entirely. No more love triangles. We're gonna focus more on Wednesday's Nancy Drew-like escapades with some Addams Family flair mixed in. Unfortunately, even the smallest comment can be used to fuel the flames of anger, as several signs among the Writers Guild picket line are covered in quotes from Ortega and slogans, including one that says, "Without writers, Jenna Ortega will have nothing to punch up." While a large portion of writers find her comments and input to have been a negative move in their eyes, many writers have also gone the opposite route and have claimed Jenna as one of their own, claiming that punch-ups are still writing too, with one person even tweeting Jenna Ortega better get back from New York for her afternoon shift on the picket line. The writers' strike is entering its second week of protesting after beginning on May 1st. The last time a major writers' strike took place like this was in 2007, and that protest went on for 100 days, costing the film industry nearly $2 billion. With fury and frustration surely looming on the streets, Jenna's comments, while more than likely playful, have been used to get a point across to the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Production. The main focus point of the strike is the residuals and streaming of media. The AMPTP, they really need to work on that acronym. Share of the residuals from streaming platforms like Amazon and Netflix has cut much of the writer's average income compared to a decade ago. They also ask that artificial intelligence platforms like ChatGPT should only be used as a research tool to help facilitate new script ideas and not as a replacement for them entirely. The demands are very understandable, as you can't replace the art that a human being can produce with AI garbage that's just mashed together for you to pick apart and edit. Unfortunately, having Jenna's name on this sign means that her name is now being used in a negative way, and she could be caught up in a strike that she didn't even start. With the strike comes a massive pause in filming, leaving not just the writers out of work, but the actors and crew as well. Was Wednesday's first season going to be its last, and will the dragging of Jenna's comments through the media mud be enough to officially ruin her career? Well, leave a comment with your thoughts down below. To all the writers involved in the writer's strike, we wish you well and hope that you won't be out there for 100 days this time. We will update you with more Jenna info as it comes along, but until then, we'll see you next time.